There we go. All right. So it is my pleasure to introduce to you guys tonight our speaker, Mr. Samuel Coniglio. Sam graduated with a BA in English, specializing in technical writing and editing from the University of Central Florida. And since graduating in 1990, he has worked in aerospace, finance, dot-com startups, telecom, networking, computer hardware and software, R&D, cloud computing, and social media businesses. Mostly to us, he's known for a lot of his stuff having worked with NASA at one point, if I remember correctly. He has experience in dozens of software tools of the trade, tolerated managers of dubious quality, and lived and worked on both coasts. He also has amazing hobbies which do not fit in a resume. I can confirm on this, having seen some photographic evidence. Some of those steampunk things have been extremely wonderful. So everyone, please welcome Mr. Samuel Spaceman Sam Coniglio.
All right, thank you very much, and thank you for that great introduction, Rachel. Thank you for coming, and thank you for willing to listen to my story as a technical writer. It's not so much a survival guide as it is a life story. So who am I? Well, I'm a lot of things. I get bored easily, so I ran off to join the circus, sort of, and I had a lot of adventures along the way. In college, I changed my major several times. My parents were pushing me to become an engineer because there was this nice engineering university nearby, and because I knew it would make a lot of money. I love technology, but I also love aesthetics, the human side of tech. I learned later in life that I was also a frustrated architect and artist, but that's a topic for another day. Oh yes, I graduated in 1990 with a degree in English, specializing in technical writing and editing. Our program was very closely linked with the Society for Technical Communication, and most of the class members were also members of STC. It was a very strong group back then. I was an active member of STC from 1989 through 1995, I think. Yeah. First job out of college. I responded to an ad in the newspaper and got one of the coolest jobs you can get, working as a NASA contractor at the Kennedy Space Center. How cool is that? It was a newspaper ad, guys. Who does that anymore? It's amazing. Holy cow, it was fun. I learned a lot about technology on space. I got up to speed in documentation and graphics. And best of all, I got the best spots for viewing the space shuttle launches. It was awesome. Then reality set in. After nearly 5 years on the job, like with any job really, you begin to evaluate your situation. As awesome as the place was, I was struggling to save money. NASA contractors back then did not make much money. Also, I was not getting paid much more than when I was a new hire 5 years before. Usually, as you know, college graduates typically don't make as much as more experienced people, and raises were very difficult to get. As I was poking around looking for jobs, I discovered this thing called job shopping. Now, back then, the first ones I saw were overseas jobs working for oil companies. They paid a heck of a lot of money, but you would be stuck on a base with very little interaction with the locals. Also, there was no alcohol allowed in those countries. So I kept digging deeper, and I discovered agencies, they were like the middleman between you and big corporations, and they paid pretty well. If you had to travel, they even offered you something called per diem, which is Latin for per day, which means you get reimbursed for all your travel expenses. That's pretty nice. So I dived in. With contracting, you hit the ground running. You are the expert, or at least you can BS your way in and learn along the way. You may know how to put sentences together, but can you learn new things quickly? Plus, translate a particular brand of geek into English, and within a time constraint. With contracting, it is hard to fall into a rut. Like I said, I get bored easily, and when the contract ends, poof, you move on to the next. You meet so many people. It is imperative you work on your communication skills or soft skills and be flexible. You learn quickly which management styles work and not work for you. And don't be shy. Yeah, they may be paying you, but you also need to ask questions to get your job done. There are two types of contracting, W-2 or 1099. The titles are based on the IRS tax forms you need to fill out. The 1099 jobs require a lot more discipline. You need to be able to track your own finances and pay your taxes on time. You can also write off various expenses. The W-2 jobs are easier to manage. You become the full-time employee of an agency. The agency will manage your account with the larger corporation. They will also handle your company benefits and manage your tax withdrawals from your paycheck. Now I need to make a quick detour into the dark side of contracting, financing your life. When I was a young lad, I was single and had not a care in the world. Well, I did have a few hobbies that did drain the bank account. Something my parents never taught me was proper money management. OMG. I think that's what the kids say nowadays. Oh my God. Learn to budget your money. You may be very lucky in that contract job to find another contract job and it pops up real quickly. Grab it and go. But in some cases, the market may dry up. You never know. You could be unemployed for a while. Definitely learn how to save up for the dry spells. Taking an account class was extremely useful in keeping me solvent, except when I was not. And like I say here on the screen, keep 3 to 6 months save expenses saved up in savings. It'll save your butt. Crash course on what should be obvious: good money versus bad money. Savings, loans, mutual funds are good things to invest in. If you're lucky and you feel comfortable in the town you are in, buy a house ASAP. For me, I traveled across the South and Western United States. It took me a long time to find a place I can call home. So I made a few mistakes along the way. Credit cards are the root of all evil. You think you're getting free money, but in the long run, it will bite you in the you-know-what. Same with rent and leasing the car. These things are black holes and you're not going to get anything out of them. I was very lucky I could file for bankruptcy when I could, or else I'd probably be living in the street right now. Story of hard knocks. Okay, back on track. Meanwhile, contracting works. Always be looking for the next job, even if your current one is stable. If the job has a known end date, start hunting 3 months in advance. There are tons of job sites out there. Sign up and search weekly. Try to find a recruiting site based on the industry you're interested in. For example, medical or cloud-based technology or automotive or robotics. There's so many different fields out there. When you do start contracting in a particular field, you may want to consider focusing on that industry. Try to get certifications, especially in areas like project management, PMIs, or technology certifications like Amazon Web Services. Those are all very helpful and will get you in the door. Just be forewarned when you start diving down this path, you may start getting inundated with phone calls from India and other countries from folks who are third-party or fourth-party recruiters. I'm not sure how legitimate they are, and I just basically don't even pick up those numbers, but I just want to give you a heads up on that. I have a phone blocker on my phone to block all those calls. They go straight to voicemail. I have to filter them all out and figure out who's legit and who's not. About the agencies, they fill in the gap for the big companies. I was shocked to discover the ratio of contractors versus full-time employees in Silicon Valley. It was amazing. As you see here on the screen, 25% to 75%. Most of those big corporations out there, not that many full-timers. Big companies enjoy having contractors because they can hire them on the fly. They can also fire them on the fly. About conversions to full-time. I rarely hear of a technical writer getting converted to full-time. I consider it a unicorn situation. If a recruiter tries to entice you with the potential of going full-time employee with a corporation, just laugh and ask them how much is the hourly rate. Here's a trick that we learned. If you have a spouse or a partner who has a day job, make an agreement with them that only one of them will get health insurance for the family. It is silly for both spouses to have health insurance from their companies. Only one is needed. That way, the other person can make maximum net from their paycheck and be able to save up for buying a home, taking vacation, or raising children. The resume is king. This is your passport to your next job. Hire someone to review it and make it look good for your particular industry. Special note, it tends to take about 5 years out of college before it is worth looking into contracting. I recommend getting your experience with one company for a while. Keep your resume available electronically. I recommend Dropbox or Google Drive. That way you can instantly share your resume with a recruiter at a networking event or an STC event. You never know. I was trying briefly to find a job that allowed me to be both a technical writer and a project manager. I've learned that multi-hyphenate jobs are also a unicorn thing. Usually you have to have one job title, and you tend to do the work of multiple other job titles. This slide might get me into trouble. Portfolio building is tricky. Yes, I tend to collect samples from various jobs. With the bigger corporations, you cannot share them. You have to create your own version of them. Be aware of non-disclosure agreements. If you have sample material that is over 7 years old, showing my age here, it is possible you could use them in a portfolio, but you absolutely have to remove all names and proprietary information. In the end, it is probably useful just to recreate that document, or at least sections of it that you need. Just keep it simple. And same as before, put into a Dropbox or Google Drive so you can make it very easy to share with recruiters. What to look for in a job. As a contractor, you have the power over what job you want. Find something of interest to you. Find something that is challenging and will add to your skill set. Ideally, you want to find a good team and a good manager. Unfortunately, those are very hard to find together. When you do find them, you hold on to them as long as you can. As the saying goes, if you want a better raise, get a different job. Some people stick to a job no matter how sick and tired they are of it. Stop. Don't do that. Take chances and go out into the market. Boredom is the mind killer. Holy crap. Excuse my language here. How many people suffer through working with a horrible manager? Why? Get the hell out of there now. Even being unemployed for a while is better than dealing with a taskmaster who's tracking every minute of your working life. This is from experience. When I started in this business, I was still learning a lot of the tools of the trade. As a full-time employee at one job, you get very good at a very limited set of skills. As a contractor, you get exposed to the whole spectrum of skills and software tools, as well as soft skills. Having a large skill set is also a big selling point for recruiters. For years, I struggled to find a contract job that would give me the flexibility of working at home a couple days a week. My commute to Silicon Valley in various places was like 2 to 3 hours one way. Too bad I had to take a pandemic to make managers realize that remote work really does work, especially for the stuff that we do. We work on computers all day. One advantage contractors have over full-timers is that when your contract is over, you can take a nice long vacation. You're not limited to a few days here and there over the year. You control your life. The most important thing contracting gives you is freedom. Freedom to be yourself, freedom to explore your hobbies and the world around you, freedom to play and to explore and to enjoy life. Thank you very much. Now I have time for questions.